Chapter 6. The Tiger Swami. I found the Tiger Swami's address. Let's go visit him tomorrow. This exciting suggestion came from Chandi, one of my high school friends. I was thrilled at the thought of meeting this holy man who, before becoming a monk, had captured and fought wild tigers with his bare hands. As a young boy, hearing about such astonishing feats filled me with pure wonder. The next morning broke crisp and winter cold, but Chandi and I set out in high spirits. After searching all over Bhawanipur just outside Calcutta, we finally tracked down the right house. The front door had two heavy iron rings which I banged loudly. In spite of the racket, a servant took his sweet time walking to the door. His teasing smile seemed to say that no matter how much noise visitors made, nothing could disturb the deep peace of a saint's home. Feeling gently put in our place, my friend and I were relieved when he invited us into the living room. Our long wait there gave us a few uneasy doubts. In India, there is an unwritten rule for anyone seeking truth: patience. A master often tests how sincere a person is before agreeing to see them. A little psychological trick that doctors and dentists in the West use all the time. Finally, the servant called us in, and Chandi and I stepped into a bedroom. There sat the famous Sohong Swami on his bed. The sheer size of his massive body left us stunned. Wide-eyed, we stood completely speechless. We had never seen a chest so broad or biceps that looked like giant footballs. Resting on a huge neck, the Swami's fierce yet calm face was framed by long flowing hair, a full beard, and a mustache. His dark eyes held a fascinating mix of gentle innocence and fierce tiger-like power. He wore no clothes except for a real tiger skin wrapped around his muscular waist. Finding our voices at last, my friend and I bowed and greeted the monk, expressing our awe at his incredible bravery in the tiger ring. "Will you please tell us how it is possible to conquer the fiercest wild beasts in the jungle, the Royal Bengal tigers, using only your bare hands?" "My boys, fighting tigers is nothing to me. I could still do it today if I had to," he said with a bright childlike laugh. "You see tigers as terrifying beasts. I see them as little house cats. Swamiji, I think I could train my own mind to believe tigers are just house cats, but could I ever make the tigers believe it?" "Of course you need real physical strength too," he replied. "You can't expect a helpless baby to win just by imagining a tiger is a cuddly kitten." My powerful hands were all the weapons I needed. He invited us out to the patio and suddenly struck the corner of a brick wall with his bare hand. A brick broke loose and crashed to the floor, leaving a gaping hole in the wall with the open sky peeking right through. I nearly stumbled backward in shock. A man who can knock a brick right out of a solid wall with a single blow, I thought, can definitely knock out a tiger's teeth. Many men have great physical strength like mine, but they lack calm, steady confidence, the Swami explained. Someone who is physically tough but mentally weak will faint the moment they see a wild beast charging through the jungle. A tiger in the wild, with all its natural ferocity, is a completely different creature from a drugged, sleepy circus animal. Many men with incredible muscle have been frozen with sheer terror when charged by a Royal Bengal tiger. In that moment, the tiger turns the man into a helpless, trembling kitten in his own mind. But a man with a strong body and an unshakable will can turn the tables on the beast, forcing the tiger to feel completely weak and defenseless instead. That is exactly what I did, time and time again. Looking at the giant seated before me, I had no trouble believing he really could turn ferocious tigers into harmless kittens. Sensing he was in the mood to share some wisdom, Chandi and I listened with deep respect. The mind is the true master of the muscles, he continued. The force of a hammer blow depends on the energy behind it. The power a human body can express depends entirely on an aggressive will and deep courage. The physical body is literally built and kept alive by the mind. Habits carried over from past lives slowly rise into our awareness as instincts, showing up as strengths or weaknesses. Over time, these habits shape our physical body into something strong or frail. Physical weakness starts in the mind. Then, in a vicious cycle, the weak body holds the mind back. If a master lets his servant boss him around, the servant takes over and becomes a tyrant. In the exact same way, the mind becomes a slave whenever it surrenders to the physical body. At our eager request, the impressive Swami agreed to share the story of his own life. From my earliest boyhood, my one big dream was to fight tigers. My will was powerful, but my body was sickly and weak. A gasp of pure shock escaped my lips. Looking at this mountain of a man with broad, powerful shoulders built to carry the world, it seemed impossible that he had ever been weak. It was only through stubborn, relentless focus on health and strength that I overcame my weakness, he said. I give all the credit to that unstoppable mental power, which is the real force that subdues Royal Bengal tigers. Do you think, revered Swami, that I could ever fight tigers? I asked. It was the very first and absolute last time that strange ambition ever crossed my mind. Yes, he answered with a gentle smile. But there are many kinds of tigers. Some roam inside the deep jungles of human desires. You gain no true spiritual reward by knocking wild beasts unconscious. It is far better to conquer the inner predators prowling within your own heart. Would you tell us, sir, how you went from taming wild tigers to taming wild desires? The tiger Swami grew quiet. A distant look entered his eyes as memories of long ago years came flooding back. I could tell he was quietly weighing whether or not to grant our request. Finally, he smiled and agreed. When my fame reached its absolute peak, it brought with it the intoxicating rush of pride. I decided not only to fight tigers but to showcase them performing various tricks. My driving ambition was to force wild, ferocious beasts to behave like tame domestic pets. I began demonstrating my feats in public arenas, meeting with thrilling success. One evening, my father entered my room in a deep, thoughtful mood. Son, I come with words of solemn warning, he said. I want to protect you from the hardships heading your way, brought on by the grinding wheels of cause and effect. Are you a fatalist, father? I asked. Should blind superstition be allowed to stain the powerful current of my achievements? I am no fatalist, my son, he answered gently. Yet I believe firmly in the exact and just law of karma, as taught in our sacred scriptures. There is deep resentment brewing against you throughout the jungle kingdom, and one day it will demand a heavy price. Father, your words surprise me, I exclaimed. You know full well what tigers are, breathtakingly beautiful, yet utterly without mercy. Even right after devouring a massive meal from some helpless creature, a tiger is instantly fired up with fresh bloodlust the moment it spots new prey. It might be a joyful gazelle leaping across the green grass. Pouncing on the innocent animal and tearing into its throat, the cruel beast drinks only a taste of the warm blood before wandering off on its destructive path. Tigers are the most vicious creatures in the forest. Who knows, perhaps my heavy blows will knock some basic sense and manners into their thick heads. Think of me as a headmaster running a forest charm school to teach them gentle behavior. Please, Father, view me as a tiger tamer, never as a tiger killer. How could my well-intentioned actions bring harm upon me? I beg you, do not order me to abandon my chosen path. Chandi and I listened with rapt attention, fully understanding the tension of that moment. In India, a child does not lightly disregard a parent's wishes. Father listened to my explanation in stoic silence. Then, with deep gravity, he made a startling revelation. Son, you force me to share an ominous prophecy spoken by a holy saint. He approached me yesterday while I sat on the porch absorbed in my daily meditation. Dear friend, the sage told me, I bring a vital message for your aggressive son. He must immediately stop his dangerous exploits. If he does not, his very next encounter with a tiger will leave him severely mauled, followed by 6 long months hovering on the brink of death. Only then will he abandon his old ambitions and take up the sacred robes of a monk. I was completely unimpressed by this warning. In my arrogance, I simply assumed Father had fallen prey to the superstitious ramblings of a wandering fanatic. The Tiger Swami made this confession with a sharp, impatient wave of his hand, as if frustrated by his youthful foolishness. He then sank into a long, brooding silence, appearing completely oblivious to our presence. When he finally picked up the thread of his tale, his voice had grown noticeably quiet and subdued. Not long after Father's warning, I traveled to the royal capital of Cooch Behar. The scenic region was brand new to me and I was looking forward to a relaxing getaway. Yet, as happened wherever I went, a curious crowd trailed behind me through the streets. I could hear whispers buzzing through the air. That's the legendary man who fights wild tigers. Are those real legs or giant tree trunks? Look at his fierce eyes. He must be the human reincarnation of the Tiger King himself. You know how neighborhood kids act like breaking news flashes, and the local gossip among the townswomen travels from house to house with lightning speed. Within just a few short hours, the entire city was buzzing with excitement over my arrival. I was relaxing quietly that evening when the thundering sound of galloping horses suddenly echoed outside. The riders came to a halt right in front of my lodging, and several tall turbaned police officers marched straight through the door. I was startled. Anything is possible with these agents of the law, I thought uneasily. I wonder if they're here to interrogate me about something I know nothing about. To my surprise, the officers bowed with unusual sweeping courtesy. Honored sir, the lead officer announced, we have been dispatched to welcome you on behalf of the Prince of Cooch Behar. He cordially invites you to his royal palace tomorrow morning. I pondered the invitation for a moment. For some unexplainable reason, I felt a sharp pang of regret at having my peaceful trip interrupted. Yet, the humble, respectful manner of the guards won me over and I agreed to go. The next morning, I was astonished to be formally escorted from my doorstep into a magnificent carriage drawn by 4 fine horses. A royal attendant held an ornate parasol over my head to shield me from the blazing sun. I thoroughly enjoyed the scenic ride through the bustling city streets and the lush woodlands beyond. At the palace entrance, the young prince himself stood waiting to greet me. He generously offered me his own lavish gold-embroidered throne while pulling up a simple wooden chair for himself. All this royal flattery is definitely going to cost me, I thought, my suspicion rising with every second. Sure enough, after a few polite pleasantries, the prince's true motive came out. My entire city is humming with the rumor that you can conquer ferocious tigers with nothing more than your bare hands. Is this really true? It is entirely true, I replied calmly. I find that very hard to believe, the prince snapped, his voice turning loud, sarcastic, and sharp. You are a soft city boy from Calcutta, raised on gentle white rice. Be honest with me. Haven't you just been sparring with sluggish, opium-drugged animals? I offered no response to his insulting jab. I challenge you to fight my newly captured wild tiger, Raja Begum, the prince declared boldly. If you can overpower him, bind him securely with an iron chain and walk out of his cage alive and conscious, the Royal Bengal tiger is yours, along with thousands of rupees and countless lavish treasures. But if you refuse my challenge, I will publicly brand you across the entire state as a cowardly fraud. His insolent challenge struck me like a blast of hot lead. Stung with fury, I fired back an instant acceptance. The prince, who had leaped half out of his seat in excitement, sank back down with a cruel, satisfied grin. He reminded me vividly of the ancient Roman emperors who delighted in tossing innocent people to savage beasts in the arena. The arena match is set for 1 week from today, the prince said. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to inspect the tiger beforehand. Whether he was afraid I might try to hypnotize the beast or secretly slip him a sedative, I had no idea. I walked out of the palace, smiling wryly to notice that the royal carriage and the ornate sun umbrella had mysteriously vanished for my walk home. Over the following week, I systematically trained my mind and body for the approaching trial. Through my servant, I heard incredible rumors circulating among the locals. The holy man's warning to my father had somehow leaked out, growing wilder with every telling. Many superstitious villagers were convinced that an evil demon, cursed by the gods, had taken the form of a fearsome tiger that morphed into frightening shapes by night while keeping its striped coat by day. This mythical demon tiger was supposedly sent by fate to crush my pride. Another popular rumor claimed that the collective prayers of the animal kingdom had reached the heavens, manifesting in the fearsome form of Raja Begum. He was chosen to punish me, the arrogant, furless, clawless human who dared to mock the entire tiger species. The concentrated fury of every tiger ever humiliated was said to be fueling this beast, guaranteeing the downfall of the fearless Tamer. My servant also informed me that the prince was having the time of his life orchestrating the spectacle. He had directed the construction of a massive weatherproof amphitheater designed to hold thousands of spectators. In the center stood Raja Begum inside an enormous iron cage, surrounded by an outer security chamber. The caged predator kept up a non-stop barrage of blood-curdling roars. The handlers fed him only tiny scraps of meat to stoke his ravenous, vicious hunger, perhaps expecting me to serve as his main course. Townspeople and travelers from across the region snapped up tickets the moment the announcement drums started pounding. On the day of the fight, hundreds of eager spectators had to be turned away at the gates. Desperate crowds pushed through the canvas openings and packed every square inch beneath the grandstands. As the Tiger Swami story reached its thrilling peak, my excitement surged right alongside it. Chandi sat utterly spellbound, unable to utter a sound. Surrounded by deafening roars from Raja Begum and the nervous buzzing chatter of the terrified crowd, I made my entrance into the arena. Stripped to the waist and wearing only a loincloth, I was completely unprotected. I unbolted the outer door of the security chamber, stepped inside and calmly locked it behind me. The tiger instantly caught the scent of human flesh. Leaping with a thundering crash against the iron bars, he greeted me with a terrifying snarl. A dead silence fell over the horrified audience. In their eyes, I looked like a helpless lamb marching straight into the slaughter. In a flash, I stepped inside the main cage, but just as the iron door slammed shut, Raja Begum exploded toward me. With one violent swipe, his claws ripped deep into my right hand. Bright red streams of human blood, the ultimate treat for a wild predator, gushed onto the arena floor. The holy man's dark prophecy was suddenly staring me right in the face. I recovered instantly from the shock of the first severe wound I had ever suffered. Hiding the sight of my torn, bleeding hand by tucking it securely into my waistcloth, I wound up my left arm and delivered a crushing, bone-jarring punch. The massive beast staggered backward, spun around the far corner of the cage, and lunged forward again with explosive force. I unleashed a rapid flurry of devastating blows straight to his head. Yet the initial taste of fresh blood had driven Raja Begum into a wild frenzy, like the first drop of wine to a desperate addict. Punctuated by ear-splitting roars, the beast's attacks grew more and more savage. Defending myself with only one good arm left me dangerously exposed to his flashing claws and fangs. Still, I delivered powerful, stunning counterpunches. Covered in each other's blood, we battled furiously in a life-or-death struggle. The entire cage became a chaotic nightmare as blood splattered across the floor and furious snarls tore from the predator's throat. "Shoot him! Shoot the tiger!" Frantic screams erupted from the crowd. Man and beast were moving with such dizzying speed that a guard's rifle shot completely missed the mark. Summoning every ounce of mental willpower I possessed, I let out a fierce roar of my own and drove a final concussive blow straight into the beast's skull. The giant tiger went limp and collapsed to the floor. Just like a cuddly kitten, I chimed in with a grin. The Swami burst into a hearty, appreciative laugh before continuing his gripping tale. Raja Begum was finally conquered. To humble his royal pride even further, I used my bloodied hands to pry open his massive jaws. For a dramatic second, I boldly placed my entire head right inside that gaping death trap. Looking around for a binding, I grabbed a heavy iron chain from the corner of the cage and securely fastened the tiger by his neck to the iron bars. Feeling triumphant, I turned and walked toward the exit door. Yet that living demon possessed unbelievable stamina. With one desperate explosive lunge, he snapped the heavy chain clean in two and landed square on my back. His massive jaws clamped hard into my shoulder, slamming me violently to the floor. But in an instant, I twisted around and pinned the beast beneath me. Under a relentless barrage of heavy punches, the treacherous animal finally sank into unconsciousness. This time I bound him far more securely. Bloodied and bruised, I slowly walked out of the cage on my own 2 feet. The entire arena erupted in an overwhelming roar of pure joy, a cheer that sounded like it came from a single giant throat. Despite being badly mauled, I had successfully met all 3 conditions of the challenge, knocking out the beast, chaining him down, and walking out of the cage without any help. On top of that, I had so thoroughly battered and terrified the wild predator that he had willingly passed up the chance to bite my head clean off. After my deep wounds were stitched and bandaged, I was showered with floral garlands and honored with hundreds of gold coins tossed at my feet. The entire city declared an official celebration. Everywhere you went, people talked endlessly about my impossible victory over one of the largest and most ferocious tigers ever captured. As promised, the prince officially presented Raja Begum to me as my prize. Yet I felt no pride or joy. A profound transformative shift had taken place inside my soul. Walking out of that iron cage felt like closing the door forever on my worldly desires. A terrible trial followed. For 6 agonizing months, I lay hovering on the edge of death from severe blood poisoning. The moment I regained enough strength to travel, I left Cooch Behar and returned straight home. I realize now that my true spiritual master is the holy sage who gave you that wise warning, I confessed humbly to my father. Oh, if only I could find him. My longing was so sincere and deep that one afternoon the holy man arrived at our home unannounced. You have done enough taming of wild tigers, he said with serene, unwavering authority. Come with me, I will teach you how to conquer the fierce beasts of ignorance prowling within the deep jungles of the human mind. You are used to performing for crowds. Now let your audience be a chorus of angels, captivated by your mastery of divine yoga. My saintly guru initiated me into the sacred spiritual path, unlocking the hidden doors of my soul that had grown stiff and rusted from long years of neglect. Together, hand in hand, we departed for my spiritual training high in the Himalayas. Chandi and I bowed deeply at the Swami's feet, profoundly grateful for his vivid portrait of such a whirlwind life. I felt more than rewarded for our long, chilly wait in the cold sitting room.